broadcasting tape delayed from the storage room under the bleachers from my elementary school gymnasium. The Sports Economy Show is on. Today, the topic that we're going to be discussing has been sliced and diced with a Ginsu knife, 7 ways to Sunday. Yes. We're going to be discussing Caitlin Clark's economic impact on the WNBA. This topic has been discussed many a time. So anyway, I want to give a little history here. It's a long way to the top. A long way to the top. There was once a time when TV networks tape delayed the NBA Finals. And I know you're still traumatized by that because he was telling me just the other day, JP, how do you feel about that? I don't want to talk about it. My childhood was ruined by the Magic Johnson Finals being tape delayed.
All-time classic performance.
Right.
And I missed it as a child.
Yes.
And I missed it.
Yes. But hey, they felt that the Dallas soap opera was worth it. Anyway, they had a 37 rating. In case you don't know what that means, 37 out of every 100 people were watching Dallas. That's a big deal. Yeah. All right, so I got a paper here because a lot of this stuff is fairly technical, and I have to read it to you off of the information I've got because I don't want to get it wrong and have one of JP's friends, ragging on me. Because I know how they are. I've met them. All right, CBS, Columbia Broadcasting System, in case you don't know what that means, from 1979 to 1981 made the decision that because of low ratings for the NBA, to air 17 of the NBA playoffs and finals games at 11:30, which would have been after the 11 o'clock news on the East Coast. That's 10 o'clock news at Central Time, greatest time zone in the world, in case you didn't know, resulting in a half a dozen games being tape delayed. And like I say, JP is still traumatized by the whole thing when Magic Johnson was playing center and winning the NBA final. You got that right? Was he playing center for a couple of games?
He played all 5 positions. He normally played point guard. That day, Kareem was out.
It was just one game?
It was just one game.
Okay.
That day, Kareem was out. He got hurt. Sixers were behind 3-2 in the series. Magic saved the day, played center, played guard, played forward, played all the positions, had a triple-double.
Look at him now. He owns part of the Washington football team.
He is where we strive to be.
Part owner of the Washington football team. That's where we should strive. And yes, we want to be gazillionaires, just like him. All right. All right, now we're going to switch over and talk about some of the WNBA. Remember what I said? It's a long way to the top. The WNBA started league play in 1997. That's a long time ago. So here's a random question for you, JP. Who is the NBA logo based on?
The NBA?
NBA logo.
Jay West.
And what team did he play for?
The Lakers.
Okay. And the WNBA logo is not based on any player whatsoever. Okay.
Okay. Random fact.
Random fact. All right. So, teams and the league were collectively owned by the NBA until the end of the 2002 season, when the NBA sold the WNBA teams to either their NBA counterparts in the city or a third party as a result of the dot-com bubble, which a lot of people lost a lot of money because they were just gambling and it didn't work out well for some folks, obviously. In 2006, the league reached a milestone as the first team-oriented women's professional sports league to exist for 10 consecutive seasons. Now that is a big deal, that they're still in business. Their attendance, I'm going to get a little bit about that, was not really great though. In the WNBA never received very much TV exposure in those first 10 years and even longer. In 2011, what happened? The NBA decided to lock themselves out with the owners. I guess the owners locked the players out. That's how it went. So the networks needed something to air. So what did? They started airing more WNBA games. This began giving them TV exposure, which helped a lot. So bringing revenues up. But their attendance still wasn't that great. So the average the average attendance per game has been declining ever since the inception of the league. The first season, there was an average of 9,000 to 10,000 people a game per team. It's the average. In 2023, the average was down to 6,500 people per game. So their average is dropping drastically over the course of almost 20 years. The revenue the teams brought in was not good until what happened this year?
This year, in case you don't know who she is,
You're living under a rock.
Caitlin Clark, former Iowa Hawkeye superstar, was drafted by the Indiana Fever. First pick of the NBA draft, WNBA draft this year. And if you don't know who she is, just look it up. It won't take you long to find out how good she really actually is. So, backtracking a little bit, Caitlin Clark was a major superstar at Iowa. She has thus taken this whole NIL era by storm. She's just on commercials. She's everywhere, even when she was in college.
Is
she
a bigger NIL player than any other college player?
I have not gone by.
I'm just saying, do you know of any other player?
The biggest star in the NIL era. I mean, she did so much for women's college basketball. It's incredible. For example, this year, Caitlin Clark was in the championship game for the NCAA championship game, and it drew 18.9 million viewers. That is more than the actual men's college basketball championship game. Yes, it was.
Wow.
Caitlin Clark was a real deal. It's been a wave. It's been a non-stop wave that continues to keep growing. I mean, people have she has taken the Steph Curry style and mastered it in women's basketball. And it's well deserved. I mean, she's a great player, and people have definitely latched on to her. So, just to show the impact that she has, larger viewing audience for the women's college basketball championship than the men's. Then she was drafted over the summer for the WNBA draft, and they had 2.5 million viewers for this draft.
For the draft?
For the draft. I didn't even know that the WNBA
had a televised draft
on TV.
Was it on ESPN?
I have no idea what channel it was on.
Wow.
But apparently 2.5 million
people
that it was on and they watched. So then after being drafted by the Indiana Fever, their ticket sales have jumped up 270% this season compared to recent seasons.
Now, can I say something about statistics? They can be manipulated greatly. I work in a business where statistics are manipulated all the time.
Well,
yes,
that is true. I'm not going to doubt.
Say you got 2 viewers, and all of a sudden you got 4 viewers. That means your viewership is doubled.
That is true. So if you had 10 people in the stands and it went up 1,000%,
it means you got 100.
You still don't have a lot of people. Okay, so then so ticket sales have gone up 270%. They're selling out arenas on the road. So when they're going to other people's arenas, they're basically selling out because of Caitlin Clark. And then here's the stat that got me. Do you know how many games there are in the WNBA season?
40?
That is correct.
Woohoo!
Yes. 38 of the Indiana Fever's games are being televised this year. That's unheard of for the WNBA.
38.
38 of the 40 are being televised. So
what network has their contract?
And the majority of them are national. So it could be ESPN, it could be other streaming services. but they will be televised nationally. A
I
majority.
I have several games do come on ABC, which owns
Yeah,
ESPN.
yeah. hmm So, but it's not all the same. It's not all the same networks. They are throughout different networks. So you would think with this major impact of Caitlin Clark, she would be making buku bucks, right? How much?
Buku bucks. That's a great.
Buku
That's a great
bucks.
phrase.
Uh, how much do you think she is actually making from the NBA?
Okay, you asked me this question, and my answer was, she's making less than a Yankees middle reliever. A Yankees middle reliever is probably making around $7-8 million to pitch 10 innings a week.
Listen, Caitlin Clark,
Yes.
according to her contract, is probably making less than
Brock
a
Purdy.
manager at the local hardware store.
Really?
Yes.
What?
She
Oh my
signed
goodness.
a 4-year, $338,000 contract that comes out to be $84,000 a year
Before taxes.
before taxes. That's correct. And so, I mean, she's not making any money. Is she worth a lot more? Absolutely. Absolutely. But the reason why she's not making that much money is because the WNBA has a base rookie contract. So she was the number one pick. She's the highest paid pick. So that's saying the WNBA just doesn't have the money to pay the players.
As I stated earlier, their attendance is down to less than 7,000 people a game up until the stars. It takes stars to pack arenas.
Right. And so right now, even with Caitlin Clark's impact this season, according to the Washington Post, they're expecting the WNBA will lose estimated $50 million for the season. So you're basically talking about a league that's not making a true profit. The Indiana Fever are thriving because of Caitlin Clark, but the rest of the league itself is not. Which is Caitlin is making a major impact for the Fever and the league, even though the rest of the players in the league are hating on her because they resent the fact that she's getting all the publicity. But eventually it will come, things will come around for the WNBA because of Caitlin Clark and some of these other players that are actually contributing and are very popular as well.
I do got one thing to say about hating on players. It happens in every sport. Bryce Harper, for example, I think the second game he played, he got hit with a baseball just because they wanted to say, "Welcome to the league, rookie."
That's right. Michael Jordan. Everybody looks at Michael Jordan as the GOAT of the NBA. But when he first got into the NBA, there were a number of players who said Michael Jordan was a showboat. All he does is score. He doesn't play defense. He doesn't, he's not a team player. He doesn't, he's a ball hog. And then, of course, after 6 championships
But he kind of had to be that way because he was the only person on the team.
yeah, Chicago
Bulls in 1986. Does anybody remember that team?
They were awful.
We're awful.
They were awful. They were a bunch of guys that, working at 7-Eleven, and Michael Jordan came in there and saved the day. All right, so all that to say, help is on the way for the WNBA. Athletic was reporting that in 2025, their television ratings, their television package, which is an estimated $50 million a season now, will jump.
That's that's league wide, right?
Right.
Okay.
Will jump to $200 million. So that should help the league a lot. It should get them, afloat, and and then they'll also they should be able to ride the wave of Caitlin Clark.
And they also now get charter planes. That was
Yes,
a big
they do.
deal. I remember, everybody talking about, they don't even have charter flights.
Well, I'm pretty sure she's the reason why. Even though they probably needed them before, but it's very expensive. The league still can't afford it right now. But if you have a star like Caitlin Clark, you can't be lining up at the gate for Delta.
No, no, you can't.
Yeah. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
You got to have some privacy, and you got to have,
Mm-hmm.
you got to have your own charter flights.
Yeah.
But that also is costing them, for 2 years, it's costing them $25 million. So it's a lot of money. It's for the NBA. That's they can accidentally lose $25 million. But for the WNBA, it's a lot of money.
Well, actually, major sports, NBA, they pay players to leave. They do. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen.
Yes, they do.
So, I mean, big-time colleges have their own charter planes. I was reading somewhere where a college basketball team, what they did is they chartered an NBA team's plane to fly them to different schools.
Well, I mean,
because they got big-time money.
Right, but college basketball, college football, it's an amateur sport, right?
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Yes.
When you can go to an app on your phone and dial up your team and place a bet on your team, it's not amateur anymore.
No. There's a lot of money.
There's a lot of money in college sports, always has been, and now with gambling, you can't get away with it. They run ads on television now. If you have a gambling problem, do not bet more than you can lose. Kurt Warner runs an ad, sponsored by the NFL.
But don't stop gambling.
But don't stop gambling. Just don't bet more than you can lose.
Handle your problem, but don't stop gambling.
That's right.
Whatever you do, please still give us your money.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Can you gamble on the WNBA?
Oh yeah.
Oh good. I would hate to miss that.
Not like I have, but I'm sure you can.
All right.
But first you have to know all the teams in the WNBA, which I don't. I
know 3. New York has the New York Liberty, Las Vegas Aces, and the Indiana Fever.
And I think there's one team, the Mystics.
Mystics.
And LA are the Sparks.
Oh, see, we can almost name them all.
Yeah. So there's not many that I can.
All right. So the bottom line here is Caitlin Clark has came into the league with a big fan base because she had in college, and once because she had a lot of media hype. She was on the NBC Today show, the whatever the ABC and CBS morning shows are. She was on all these shows, and they're talking about her, so that brings hype. What the WNBA does, which they full well know what they got to do, is keep this hype going.
Right.
That's what they got to keep doing. So.
And don't feel sorry for Caitlin Clark. I mean, she may not be making money. She may not make money off her contract for the WNBA.
But she's making a lot of
money.
She's selling cheeses.
She's endorsing everything.
Yes.
So.
And remember, please hit that like and subscribe button because we need a gazillion so we can buy a WNBA franchise and move it to Canada. Goodbye.
Goodbye, guys.
So long, everybody.